Hi, everyone. Whether you are in a social situation or a work environment, knowing how to ask questions and how to listen effectively is very important. Listening and hearing are different. When you nod, you give verbal cues such as, oh, I see, that's interesting, show that you are engaged in the conversation. That's active listening. When you're actively listening to someone, you ask questions. For example, you can say something such as, you mentioned nuclear armament. How do you feel about the current political issues in this country in regards to nuclear armament, things like that. Active listening is essential in any type of conversation, more important than just hearing somebody talk. Listening helps you to understand the person's point of view. For example, if someone is talking about a complex topic, you can focus on the conversation and eventually you find something in common with that topic. Let's say somebody is talking about the war in Sudan. They may mention landmines. You may not be an expert in landmines, but you may know someone who was affected by a similar issue. And so you can ask, I heard you mention landmines in Sudan. I have a friend that lost an arm in a landmine accident. I was wondering what's being done about clearing the landmines in Sudan. Now, that's a good question. Mixing your topic with that person's topic, your interest with their interest. It's not that deep, and you can still talk to that person even though they're talking about a topic that's very complex and out of your range. This shows that you're actively listening and that your interest is genuine. So how you frame your questions helps the other person feel that you're involved in a conversation and it's not so intimidating for you. So instead of asking a question that is unfeeling, are you working with an organization that helps Sudan? You could say, it sounds like you really care about the people of Sudan. Are you involved with any charity organization that helps the people in Sudan? That's different. It has more feelings. Once you have identified a point of interest, you can ask questions that keep the conversation going. But remember, timing is the key. You can't just pop in a question anywhere in a conversation, even though you identified the point that you want to talk about. You have to find the right place to include your question and never interrupt the conversation. Wait for your timing. There will be pauses, or even if there isn't a pause, you can ask your question at the end of the conversation. Or you can catch that person somewhere else and say, hey, I have this question. So I was wondering about this and this. And then you can make connection with that person. For instance, if someone is discussing challenges with nuclear weapons, if you didn't have a chance to talk to them during the conversation, or if the conversation was above your head, you can say something like, I really appreciate the thoughts that you shared. I've been curious about that topic. Connect with the interest of that person so that the person feels that you're listening and you're interested in the topic they were talking about. You always make it about their experience. People love to talk about things that are important to them. And that's how you make good friends, because they feel good telling you their experiences. That's important. But be mindful not to pry. Ask questions that relate to what they shared and what they like to talk about. For example, you can say something like this. It sounds like you're passionate about helping those affected by nuclear weapons. Are you involved in any organization working with that? And if they are not, they will tell you. If they are, they'll tell you. And if they don't want to tell you, they won't. But you could ask something like that. And if they are involved within the organization, you support. You say, that's a wonderful cause. I'd love to help, or at least stay updated with the work that you're doing, so that you opening up to that person, you're offering help. They know that they can come to you for help. Also, you want to hear more about it. You want to stay in touch. That's what makes people feel good. And that's the whole goal of conversation, is to make the person that you're talking to feel really good and comfortable with you. Remember, it's all about being genuine and respectful, and respect their boundaries. If you see that they are not comfortable talking, give them their space. Another part of conversation that we haven't addressed yet is silence. Silence is also part of conversation. Of course, you don't want to be silent and never say anything. That's not what I'm talking about. But you can always be silent during a conversation and be an observer. You can be a silent observer just by paying very close attention. People know when you're paying attention to what they're saying. They feel it from you. So if your total attention is on them, on their topic, they can see it on your countenance. It's not necessary that you speak every single time somebody says something, but it's your involvement as far as paying attention that they'll notice. So give space for the person to expand on their topics. Always leave space for someone else to talk. Don't be the one that talks all the time. When asking questions, you want to use open-ended questions. It's very hard to have a conversation conversation with somebody who you ask a question, they say no or yes, and that's it. In fact, that means they don't want to talk or they want to end the conversation. So go back and see those videos about that. You want to ask open-ended questions that gives the person a chance to explain things they like. For instance, you can say, what's your favorite part about your job? Can you tell me more about your trip to the Amazon? Compliments are very essential in a conversation. You don't want to be worshiping the person. That's not it. You have to give sincere compliments. You don't compliment somebody about something that you actually hate, dislike, or are really not impressed with, because as soon as you do it, they notice, they know. But if you saw something that is worthy of a compliment, don't let it go by without complimenting. You can say, what a wonderful perspective you have on this and this. I really liked what you said. But compliments are very important. Compliments show that you are picking up on the highlights of the conversation and that you feel the things that are dear to that person. Compliments are often very well received. There are people that don't receive compliments well, but that's really their problem, not yours. You can say things like, your hairstyle really suits you. I really like it. That's a compliment. I love how warm and welcoming your house is. It shows your personality. So you're complimenting them about their house and complimenting their personality at the same time. But don't go sweet about it. Just one or two things that you can say is plenty, but always try to give somebody a compliment. Sometimes people can feel more comfortable when talking about things that you share in common. If you notice you have mutual interests, bring them up. For example, I noticed that you're into hiking. I love the outdoors. Have you been in any good trails lately? Are you familiar with the trails in this area? Which trails have you hiked recently? Do you prefer hiking in the desert or the mountains? Always be ready to offer support to somebody when talking to them. When someone shares their goals and plans, offer support to their success. Nothing can win a person more quickly. Nothing can win a person's friendship, attention, respect, and admiration more than when you show that you are invested in their success. You want to help them with their success. Show that their success is important to you. You may say something like, that sounds like a great service project. If you need any extra help, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you. So you're interested in what they're doing, you'd love to help. Or I noticed that you are going on this trip for several days. If you need a ride to the airport, I'd love to give you a ride and I'll be able to pick you up when you return. That's offering help. Now, if you struggle with shyness, here is a bonus for you. From here on, we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to help that situation. Start smaller. You start by addressing somebody who's talking about a less complex topic. You can ask questions that are less involved. And in a public situation, at work, at school, there's always those who are intellectual, they're talking about complex things, but there are also those who are a little bit less complex and that you can ask questions. You may want to observe what everyone is talking about, and then ask somebody a question such as, what kind of books do you like to read? That's a very simple question, but it's an important question. People who love to read, love to talk about the books that they're reading, the topics they're reading. And once you ask that question, you can go, which topics do you prefer to read? Which books have you read lately? Do you prefer science fiction? Or you can say something such as, how did you get started with your hobby of photograph? I'd love to see your photographs. We can always make comments. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually ask more in-depth questions about their experiences, but allow some time to get to know the person first. And these steps show genuine interest in others, but the conversation feels natural and comfortable and genuine. You have to be genuine about what you say to people, because when you're not, they know and feel it. It shows through you. It shows in your voice. It shows in your body language that you're not being genuine. And if you ask a question that's not genuine, they will know too. And there's nothing better to destroy your reputation than that. So don't do that. If you don't have a question or a comment that is genuine, it is best to stay silent and just listen. Remember, listen with attention and intention, and they'll feel that. The key is to be authentic, listen deeply, ask questions that invite the other person to share their experience and thoughts with you without making them feel pressured and without invading their privacy. Practice in your mind coming up with questions and different scenarios. You don't have to worry too much. These things come natural to you as you're involved in trying to overcome shyness. These things just evolve in you. Come back and listen to these videos. It gives you lots of ideas that will help you to overcome shyness, overcome fear of talking to people, fear of of starting a conversation or get involved in a conversation in a group, I have some icebreakers for you. This is really fun. If you are shy or unsure how to start a conversation, these icebreakers are wonderful. You don't have to use them, but you can use them as a model to think about things that you can say. For instance, if it is in a company, how do you feel about the changes happening here? Let's say management is changing or they're changing displays on the store or something. How do you feel about these changes? Do you like them? Not with intention to backbite or gossip, but just to find out what the person feels about that change. Let's say you're at an event. How did you enjoy the event last year? What was your favorite part of the event? Let's say if you are in a place where they're demonstrating, let's say a gadget or equipment, you can say, I'm not sure how to use this. Do you know how to use this? How would you use it? So that's a conversation started, and you can use that as an icebreaker with a stranger, anybody, the person next to you looking at that same item. You can ask them and then start a conversation with somebody. All of those things help you to practice overcoming shyness so that when you actually really need to talk to somebody, you feel a lot more comfortable because you have practiced already and you feel comfortable. I know that being shy can be a hindrance in our communication, but we need to develop communication skills. And the reason why I know, because I was there. I was really shy, and it is possible to overcome shyness, but it is something that we always have to work on. It's not something that we get overnight, but we work on it little by little. Don't get overwhelmed with it because if you, I have to do this, I have to say this, I have to go there, and I have to say that. No, you just take one thing at a time, one step at a time, and then you overcome it. So these are simple, non-invasive questions that can help you to engage without feeling overwhelmed. Just use simple questions so they don't feel overwhelmed. Okay. Giving compliments. Oh, that is so important. Compliments are a great way to make someone feel appreciated and make them feel that you are genuine. Like I said before, the compliment needs to be genuine too. We can say, I love your hairstyle. It really suits you. But if you don't like that hairstyle, especially if it didn't suit the person, you don't have to say anything. You're not obligated to give a compliment unless it is genuine and the person really deserves that. Okay. Because otherwise they'll know. They'll feel it. Be sincere when you're complimenting people. And remember that good conversations develop into good friendships that are respectful and real. When we show this type of respect in this level to people, it makes them feel good. A lot of people talk and talk or try to talk and no one listens to them. This can happen at work, this can happen at home, and they are tired of having the situations where they are not heard when they talk. So to be that person that listens to them, it really wins their heart. So that's very important. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or if you have any questions, just send me a question in the comment, or if there's a topic you'd like to see a video made on, you can ask that too. And don't forget to like and subscribe for this channel. If you haven't yet, share with your friends. Thank you for listening.